Shower time with Indigo, the lovely one. Hey! Loves the shower. You love the shower, Indigo? Yeah? You loving it? You having so much fun under there? Yes. So much fun.
Go on, Betty.
Hey folks, Matthew here with
Victoria?
and baby Indigo. Coming at you with another conscious parenting video.
Okay, so today we thought we'd talk about breastfeeding. Someone in the comments a couple of days ago wrote and asked, if you've got a vegan baby, what do you feed it? And I thought, well, we breastfeed, of course. But some people don't realise that. Some people think that if you don't drink milk products, it means you don't breastfeed. But of course, it just means that you don't take anything, products from other animals, but we just stick to our own species. So yes, Indigo breastfeeds.
Yeah, it's just not treating any other animals as commodities. That's really what it is.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. So, on that note, then the second part is someone was asking, do I think it's important that if you're breastfeeding to breastfeed your child in order to connect with them and for the bonding process? So, and I really thought about this, and I don't think it's necessary. Although I think if it's at all possible, it's really, really beneficial. I mean, when you breastfeed, you're holding the child close to you. You tend to look at them. You give them a lot more attention than you would than most people do when they're bottle feeding. We were in a cafe a couple of weeks ago, and there was a lady there chatting to her friend, and she had a child, and the baby was in the pram, and she was bottle feeding the baby, and she held the bottle in the baby's mouth, and she was looking in the opposite direction to her child while feeding it. And I thought you couldn't get possibly further away from attachment parenting if you tried. That the poor child was getting absolutely no attention. And a lot of the nutrition that a child gets, it's not just from the nutrients from having the breast milk, but it's also from the attention and the love that the child's getting from being in your arms, from having you look the child in the eyes, and from you talking to the child as well. So I think it's really important if somebody, for whatever reason, isn't able to breastfeed, that you do give the child lots of attention whenever you're at home and you have chance. Give the child, have skin-to-skin contact with your baby, and look your child in the eyes. Give your child lots of eye contact and talk to them a lot as well. So that was one part on breastfeeding.
The very first, at least 6 weeks, Indigo was breastfeeding, what, 16 plus hours a day?
Yeah, I really struggled breastfeeding at the start, because it seemed like he was breastfeeding all day. I had him on my breast pretty much every 10 minutes even, maybe. And I thought to myself, is this what it's like? I just don't know if I can cope with this. And but because we decided to bring Indigo up vegan, and I knew it was really important to Matthew, and I knew it was important for Indigo's health, so therefore it was important to me too. I thought, right, I'm just going to just take each day at a time and see if it gets easier. And it really does get easier. As the child gets older, they're able to take more milk out at once, and then they start asking to be fed less often, because they can take more milk in one go. So that's really, really good. It also, with me, it was very painful. So what I did, we had the midwives come around to see us, and I mentioned it to them, and she showed me different ways to hold Indigo, and personally it didn't really work for me. I think Indigo just wasn't opening his mouth that wide. And then I went to, there's breastfeeding support groups that you can go to as well. It's for whatever area you live in. If you ask at your local health centre, there's probably a breastfeeding support group. And I know some people make fun of it, but I mean, if you go there, there's other women and they're all breastfeeding their babies, and you can get a lot of, you can ask a lot of questions there, and your baby can look and see other babies, and it can be really nice. Just to go and get that support and ask any questions you have from other mothers. What else we're going to talk about? Oh yes, Indigo is currently 100% breastfed, which means that we don't give him anything else really apart from my breast milk.
He's 5.5 months now.
And he's 5.5 months, and we are obviously going to let him kind of, if he starts really craving other foods, if I see him crying maybe during the night or something, then I would maybe consider start feeding him. But at the minute he's so content that I know he's happy on my breast milk. And if he stays this way, we're going to try and feed him 100% breast milk for the first year at least. But we'll see how he goes, and we'll just...
Yeah, take it day by day, but right now he's in the top 98th percentile for size and weight, and he's very advanced for his age. He wears clothes for a 9-month-old, nothing else will fit him, nothing small, 9 to 12 months, nothing smaller will fit him. So he's very physically developed, and also you know, his mental capacities and his alertness and awareness is very developed as well. You know, people can't believe it when they hear he's only 5 months. So yeah, he's doing great just on what he's getting, and so it would make no sense right now to do anything else, because, you know, if nothing's broke, don't fix it, you know.
So one of the reasons that a lot of women stop breastfeeding, or particularly stop breastfeeding early, is because they say they're not producing enough milk. From what I've read, a couple of the main reasons for that is that you're not drinking. One is that you're not drinking enough water, and the other one is that you're not putting the baby to your breast enough. The more the baby suckles on your breast, the more that stimulates your body to produce more milk. And another reason might be that if you're feeding the baby other foods, even if you're just giving the baby water. I mean, the mother's breast milk contains everything the baby needs to hydrate it and feed him, so him or her. So it's really important not to give the baby other foods, even when it's hot weather. Just breastfeed the child for longer. And yeah, a friend of mine, I know some people, they have this thing where they breastfeed the child once every 4 hours, and there are quite a few different regimented parenting things, but what's most important is if you, I think what Matthew and I feel is the best thing to do is to feed the child on cue, which is when they first look at you and start going like this, that's when to feed them. I mean, if you can leave it longer again, and when they start crying and going nay, nay, but even before that, the child will look at you and kind of say, you know, let you know that they're hungry.
There's on cue and on demand. On demand is when they start crying, and then it's like, okay, their child is demanding to be fed. But if you're more tuned in and have you know, sensory acuity to, you know, what's going on, the facial expressions, the movements, the noises, then, you know, you'll be able to feed him before he starts crying or anything like that, right? Okay. Right, son.
So that was that. Anything else, darling?
Yeah. Also, the use of a dummy. If you're using a dummy, or is there an American word for a dummy, or is it just a dummy?
I don't know.
Like a pacifier, you know, that they suck on. Then, like, we don't use one of those. And one of the reasons is because. Well, one of the reasons is because the child can get used to just sucking on the dummy, and then they don't suck on the breast as well. As well, sometimes the child can be crying, and then the parent or the mother gives the child the dummy, and then they're not able to tell them when they're hungry. You know, the child might be hungry, but then the dummy gets put in the mouth, and so the child sucks on the dummy instead of getting fed. So then the child might not be getting as much breast milk as they should get, and then the mother stops producing as much milk because the child isn't demanding it as much, because they're sucking a dummy instead. So yeah, things like that. You know, if you're giving the child other, like, liquids, you know, or having a dummy in the mouth, then maybe the mother doesn't produce as much milk, and then the child doesn't get as much nutrition, and then they don't grow as well, and then maybe they start needing other foods younger. But you know, everyone's different. There's no just one way. Everyone is different, right?
Yeah.
But that is generally the way it is. The only thing we have given Indigo, other than breast milk, is sometimes when he's teething, we give him a little bit of chamomile tea, and that really helps to soothe the teething. But literally, he takes just like a minute amount, like maybe like a teaspoon or something, and that's happened a few times when he's been teething. It does help, yeah. But that's the only time he's ever taken anything other than mother's milk. Yeah, and yeah, he's brilliant for it. So that's us for that one, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's everything covered today.
Yeah.
Okay everyone, thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, post them in the comment section below, and if there's anything that we think will be valuable, we'll make a video on it. I'm
Yep.
Victoria.
I'm Matthew, and this is Indigo. See you next time.